I feel really sorry for students who are graduating this year and who will be graduating next year. They learn entry-level work. AI does entry-level work much better than any entry-level person can do.
How does a person make that a profession? How to earn money from that? And is there enough for one to lead a decent life?
You got to turn every passion into a profession, which means that anything that you're passionate, be it photography, be it painting, be it stamp collecting, be it speaking, whatever is your passion, but anything that you're doing, make it pay. So as a professional speaker, I would still say, do not be a generalist, be a specialist. So the ability to become a creator is one of the greatest strengths that people can have if you want to succeed in your professional life. You need to be a creator and don't just be a consumer.
Okay, welcome to yet another episode of Switch Talk, and this is a special one because हम लोग जनरली बात करते हैं कि अब ज़माना आ गया है स्पेशलाइजेशन का. पीपल टॉक अबाउट स्पेशलाइजेशन एंड वी ऑल फील दैट जनरलिस्ट्स का काम अब धीरे धीरे कम हो रहा है. बट देन हियर इज़ अ प्रोफेशनल हु बिलीव्स दैट now times are changing towards being a generalist. So we'll talk with him on this, of course, and he himself is doing several tasks, he's involved into several professions very successfully, like he works on technology. So he is an expert on how to use AI and various other technologies in whichever profession you are. Secondly, he is a professional speaker. So that means that the second most important skill other than knowing technology, you need to be a good communicator. So he is a professional speaker as well. And now he has taken up farming. So which of course he has been doing for almost a decade or more, but he is a farmer as well. And his farm, his staycation place has been ranked as the best in the world by the Outlook Traveler magazine, if I'm not wrong. We'll talk more about it from the man himself, Kiruba Shankar. It's an honor having you here, Kiruba. It's a pleasure having you at the Switch Talk.
So it's a pleasure to be here on Switch Talk, but even greater pleasure having a conversation with you, Akil.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So let us start with talk journalism first, because you came here and you managed it so wonderfully well. You took half of our stress away. And of course, the second point that I mentioned about you, that you are a communicator, a wonderful public speaker. You have done that professionally. And talk journalism is one platform wherein we convince people like you to come and speak for us for free. So anyways, thank you so much for that. And please tell us more about your journey.
Sure. So first, I want to give a shout out that talk journalism is easily one of India's best and the largest event for journalism. And I think it is, for me, it is also a standout example why, if you're watching this show, for you to look deeply into how talk journalism became from just one-off event to become a brand of significance. And that's a lesson I think as audience members we should all learn from, is how do we build brands? And talk journalism is a classic example of how, through sheer perseverance, through sheer planning, and how you can, and consistency, you're able to really build a brand. So that's one important point I want to go deeper as we go through the conversation. Let me come back to my journey. So my name is Kiruba Shankar, and I believe in doing multiple things, but I believe in doing things that you are deeply passionate about, and turning every passion into a profession. So I think that is the reason why I'm so convinced, Akil, that these two things. One, there used to be a case in point where they say that you need to be a master of one, which is you take any field, you need to be 1 inch wide and 1 kilometer deep,
Yes,
which is
dive deep.
you take one specialization, you become awesomely great at that specialization because anyone wants to come in and only deal with the specialist. I would say it is still true, but in this growing age where AI has disrupted almost every segment of the market around, and it's going to really wreak havoc going forward. I believe that having multiple talents will really help, especially if you're a kid. Let me give you an example, Akhil. I feel really sorry for students who are graduating this year and who will be graduating next year, especially computer science students. What do computer science students learn? They learn programming. They learn entry level work. AI does entry level work much better than any entry level person can do.
Quicker, yeah.
Content writers, their game is over because your ChatGPT and Perplexity will do much better work than what any content writer can do. Graphic designers' work is now cut off because of the awesome thing that people do, and video editors and camera person. So this is just the writing on the wall, right? Going forward, it's going to get bigger and bigger. So my first point is that I firmly believe that having multiple talents really helps. So for me, embracing technology. So I run a digital consulting firm. We help corporate companies on how they can leverage technology, whatever is in vogue at that point in time. Be it social media, be it reputation management, be it in leveraging AI. So that's one thing that I do. The second thing that I'm truly passionate about, and like you rightly mentioned, is getting better and better and better at the art of communicating, about how being articulate greatly helps. So I'm a professional speaker because I specialize in digital consulting. Digital excellence is my core area of expertise, and that's what I speak. But I also co-founded the Professional Speakers Association of India. So
you founded it?
Yeah, I co-founded it.
Wow.
I
didn't know that. It's one of the best in the world, I guess.
Yeah, it's the third largest in the world, Akhil, and it's the second largest in Asia. And it's an amazing organization. If anyone's passionate about making money from speaking, then PSAI, the Professional Speakers Association of India, is absolutely the place to be. Right? I would say for every journalist worth their talk journalism is the community they need to be part of. If you're a professional speaker, then Professional Speakers Association is the place to be. Right? The third is completely polar opposite of what I do. And you will resonate this very well because you recently...
मैं भी बड़ा होके किसान बनना चाहता हूँ.
Yeah, that's right. And so I run a 13-acre organic farm, truly passionate about it. And I help my parents, they are in their mid-70s, and I help them run a farm stay. And Outlook Traveler magazine rated us as the best farm stay for 2025 in India, and hopefully we grow on to become the best in the world.
I'm sure you will. You will. The passion that I saw, the way you are even writing a book on that, I guess.
That's right. I've written.
If you can brief us more about that.
Sure. So I've authored 8 books. I'm working on my 9th. And the reason why I'm a firm believer that authoring books is one of the is a skill that everyone should develop, and especially I want to address youngsters, students, and young professionals who are watching this show. And I would urge you to to become a creator. That's the first point that I want to make. Is if there is one lesson that you want to take from this edition of Switch Talk, and that is you need to be a creator and don't just be a consumer. Many of us in this world of Instagram Reels, in this world of social media, Netflix, it's so easy for you to get addicted to the screen and just keep watching reels after reach, binge watching on OTT platforms, reading newspapers, watching television. It doesn't require any skill at all. But what it requires is exactly what you're doing, Akhil, right? You have created a fantastic platform called Talk Journalism, where some of the best journalists in the world and India come and speak. Not everybody can do it, and you've been able to create it. Now we have created Switch Talk, a podcast which is going to help a lot of people listening to it, because you're getting great minds together on the show and sharing. Not many people can do it, right? So the ability to become a creator is one of the greatest strengths that people can have if you want to succeed in your professional life. So that's another thing that I really specialize in, which is the ability to create multiple points, especially books that we are talking about. I'll be the first one to say that the people who are reading books has dwindled drastically, right? So then why would somebody write a book? And why would I come to you and ask you to write a book if I'm asking you to write a book, but at the same time, I'm also saying that the number of people who are reading books is dwindling. The reason is because the book is your perfect excuse for you to research and go deeper into the subject that matters to you. Right?
Definitely.
For example, I wanted to make our farm stay, it's called Vaksana Farm Stay, and I wanted to be truly world class. It is one thing for you to wish for your farm stay to be world class. It is completely different to actually make it into action.
I can imagine.
So what did I do? How can you turn your farm stay into a world class farm stay? Is by looking and learning what other great farm stays around the world are doing. But if I go and tell them that, hey, I am being selfish, I want my farm stay to be great, can you tell me your secret? Nobody is going to do that, right? However, if I say that, listen, I look at you as an expert. You in Italy are running a fantastic farm stay. You in Chiang Mai in northern Thailand are running a fantastic farm stay. You on the outskirts of Auckland and New Zealand are running an absolutely amazing farm stay. And I am writing a book right now. It's called Superb Host, on how you can be a great host and how can you run a great farm stay. And I want to interview you. Now, suddenly, I'm putting...
an excellent idea.
Yeah, I'm putting them on a pedestal. And I'm saying that you are an expert who's done that, and can you share? Now, the book becomes the foot in the door. It becomes an entry. But what it also does, Akhil, and this is where magic happens, is you're able to now concretize and compile all of the treasures of knowledge into a small format, which is your book format, and it becomes a great reference material for others. So I've written 8 books, and I'm a huge fan of investing in authoring books. So that's something that I do, and that's what the book is about. I've written about 4 books on the subject of farming itself. The first one is called The Profitable Farm Stay, on how, when you're running a farm stay, how can you really make this successful. The other book is called Reviews to Revenues, and this is especially for hospitality, like the hotel that we are staying in, to some of the greatest hotels around the world, and how reputation plays a big role in increasing one's business. And now I'm researching on this book called Superb Host.
So now, since you mentioned to me yesterday that you went on a road trip somewhere in Thailand and...
3 countries.
3 countries.
I went on a road trip for a month. I went across Thailand, and I went across Malaysia, and I went across Indonesia, particularly around the Bali area.
Was this during the same trip?
It was all during the same trip.
Okay.
And all
How
3
did
of these
you do
things, because I got invitations to speak in these 3 countries as a
Okay.
professional speaker.
Wow.
And I always believe that you turn one opportunity into multiple opportunities, right? So you invited me to Talk Journalism to come and speak, but I'm taking 3 days more to go and explore the place around and cities in and around in Rajasthan. This is also another concept that I want to share to youngsters, right? I want you to think of a stool, right? I want you to think of a chair. Now, if the chair had only one leg, it's going to topple down. Let's add one more leg. If the chair had 2 legs, it will still topple down. But if the chair has 3 legs or 4, it will be steady, and it's sturdy enough for us to sit, sturdy enough for us to stand. And I always say that any passion project that you undertake, always find out 3 reasons why you should do that. Right? Now, I got an invitation to come back and speak for the 9th edition of Talk Journalism. And for me, it's an easy call because I know that coming and speaking at the greatest journalism event in country is a big plus. That's number 1. Number 2, it's an opportunity for me to meet interesting people, right? And that's one of the greatest things of talk journalism. You get to meet achievers in that field. So that's the second reason. The third reason is that I can come and explore newer cultures. And in every city I come, I only eat the local food and I go and see things, non-touristy things, and experience that. That for me is the third thing. So, like for example, I'm dying to eat mirchi vada out of Jodhpurian mirchi vada. So things like that are very. So that's one. It's been a game changer for me. That's because my mentor, Mr. Rajesh Sethi, who's a serial entrepreneur in California, and he told me this very early on in my life is, you got to turn every passion into a profession, which means that anything that you're passionate about, be it photography, be it painting, be it stamp collecting, be it speaking, whatever is your passion, and all of us, we have passions, right? It could be cooking. We all have hobbies, we all have passion projects, we all have side hustles, but anything that you're doing, make it pay, right? If your passion can become your secondary profession or tertiary profession, it will give you the motivation to spend even more interest, time, and effort into that. That's the first thing. The second takeaway that I want you to do is always look for at least 3 reasons why you should do anything in life. So that was a game changer for me.
So I'll add the fourth pillar for this trip. That is to take you to my farm and take all your experience. But anyways, jokes apart. So now tell me this, that you are saying a very valid point that whatever your interest is, if you want that to be a profession, how to make money out of that is the whole challenge, because unless you are able to sustain it, you'll not be able to do it for long. Now, with your experience, I would like to know specifically about public speaking. Let us start with that. How does a person make that a profession? How to earn money from that? And is there enough for one to lead a decent life?
Okay. So that's a great question, Akhil. To understand this, there are 2 types of speakers. The first one is a public speaker. Who is a public speaker? Someone who has the gift of gab, who can go on stage, can articulate, can capture people's attention and convey their points in an emphatic manner. That is a public speaker. Now, who is a professional speaker? A professional speaker is a public speaker who gets paid for his or her time.
Right.
Okay?
That's interesting.
So, this is, if I were to draw an analogy, if we play gully cricket, we are still cricketers. We still play cricket.
Yes.
But who are the people who get paid? Are people who really get good and who are able to go to a stadium, to a ground and play, and so many people watching them play. Right? It's the same concept that if you are genuinely passionate about one area, in this case speaking, you become so good at it that others are willing to pay you money to come and speak. Right? So let me answer your question on how does one transition from being just a speaker to a paid professional speaker. So number 1, what you need to do is enhance your skill of speaking, right? Nobody is born a good speaker. Nobody is born a good speaker, but you develop your speaking skills over a period of time. And you do that by watching great speakers on stage, by watching how are they starting with an impact, how are they narrating a story very well, how are they putting those pregnant pauses, and how are they ending with an impact. So just by watching great speakers, and we are all blessed to have to look all of them, on YouTube. We are blessed to see them on stage. So learning little by little and picking up those skill sets would be a fantastic one, I would say. The second part of it is pick an area of interest and go deep. So as a professional speaker, I would still say do not be a generalist, be a specialist. In the beginning of the podcast, I said exactly the opposite, that you need to have multiple skills. But if you want to become a successful professional speaker, then you need to become a master of one. And you pick one area, go really deep, because that is the expertise that people want. The third step is you need to first create a mindset that you need to earn money. And that mindset is super important. So even for you, even for Switch Talk, I would urge you to do that. This should become a profit-making podcast that is earning money to have your own studio and to have an even bigger setup. And that's what I urge all youngsters who are watching this, that anything that you take, you should create a mindset that you should find a way to make your passion self-sustainable. So in speaking, you do that by putting a value to your time, by putting out a value saying that this is my talk and this is how much I charge. And you have to let the world know that you are a professional speaker. And that's why it's important to build your brand. That's why it's important to let the world know that you really kick ass at what you're doing. So much so that others will want to get you on stage, even if they have to pay money. So that is how people can transition to become a professional speaker.
Coming back to our generalist versus specialist, if I have to derive a summary out of what you just said, is what I also believe, that till 30s maybe, and even if we do not categorize it into age brackets, I feel that everybody should specialize in one of the skills. Once you are decently paid, once you feel that you can sustain on that, then you diverse or go for other skills, and then you can become a generalist. So now coming to your second skill, which is you are a digital expert, and so you guide and counsel people, and you also consult on digital media and how to use that. So that definitely is one profession which is thriving now. A lot of agencies are there, but what my experience has been with a lot of entrepreneurs that I meet, they all struggle with agencies. They all say that I have changed 3 agencies in the last 8 months. The GM of this hotel said this to me yesterday only. A lot of my friends in different countries, they feel the same. So this is a global problem, and that's why a lot of opportunity. So what would you suggest to students who want to get into digital space, how they can carve a niche for themselves?
That's a great question. I have multiple advices on this front. The first one is, you first need to really good at becoming a power user of social media. Before you start even thinking of becoming a digital marketer or starting an agency, the first aspect is that you need to realize that social media or digital marketing is a tool. It's a tool like how we use cars to drive. It's a tool how we use mobile phones to speak. It's a tool like how we use knives in the kitchen. You first need to understand that it is a tool. Unfortunately, many people use it as a medium of entertainment, right? Which is, it's so easy for people to get into consumption mode and not in the creating mode. You can use social media effectively to build your own brand, right? So if you actually, if you go and ask people, when was the last time that you went and updated your LinkedIn profile? You'll be shocked. especially for youngsters, especially for students, college students, and young professionals who are watching this. You ask them to do a test, they'll say it will be in a long time, because I do this dipstick in every crowd that I go with. If I go and ask people that, have you typed in your name into ChatGPT or Perplexity and seen what is the result that tell? If somebody goes and asks, for example, what's your name? What, Shan? Shraddha? Shadan? Okay. Let's say if I went to ChatGPT or Perplexity and I went, who is Shraddhan? And you got to wait and look at what the answer is. How many of us would have done that? How many of us have gone to Google and typed in our name and
Not
looked
even
at
0.1%, I guess.
Exactly. So, in many cases, if we can't find ourselves, how do you expect others to find you? Right? So, that's a very important lesson I think youngsters need to learn. Is first, we need to use technology effectively for our own benefit. How can, like, for example, I was a little disappointed with so many youngsters at the conference that recently took place, which is Talk Journalism 2025. We had some of the most amazing speakers, right? Truly world-class journalists who are coming to this event, and they are physically here for 2 full days, some of them for 3 full days. And then you have students. Many of them did not even go and approach them to say, sir, I admire your work, or ma'am, I have a question regarding this phase. I mean, these are the best of breed people, right? And the reason why I'm taking that particular example, Akhil, is we all make the same mistake in the online space. With the power of internet in our hands, you have now the ability to reach out to the movers and shakers in the world, no matter whom. I'm talking about top CEOs, I'm talking about top achievers, sports people, movie stars, top government officials. All of them all have their digital presence, and it's easy for us to reach out. How many of us proactively take that effort to connect with people, right? You know this very well in your professional life. Who we know is very important for our growth, right? Who we connect with. And that's also another thing that I advise youngsters, is to proactively use the power of social network to connect with people so that you can grow yourself. So that's a very important task. Now, having become a power user, now the next level is whatever profession that you're taking. You could be a journalist, you could be an engineer, you could be into mechanical line, you could become a doctor, you could become a lawyer. It doesn't matter what line of specialization that you're taking. Can you effectively apply the uses of social media for you to get better at what you're doing? If you're a doctor, how can you leverage technology? How can you leverage AI to fast track the learning very quickly, right? To research much better, for you to build a brand around in that area. So that's the third level. The fourth level is where, since you have used it for your own benefit, since you have built an amazing brand, now you can then use all that knowledge to help another company. And that's when you become a great agency owner, or you become a great consultant. This is like saying, a chef will never be a great chef if he's not able to cook in his own kitchen, right? You will not be a race driver if you don't know how to drive the car in your residence. So you need to be a power user before you start to go and help others.
Great, that makes total sense. And now coming to the third profession that you are into, which is pretty close to my heart, that is farming. Going back to nature, and this is getting even more important in these times because we all are addicted to the screens, to a life which is not close to nature. Even the food that we eat, and since I plan to come up with my farm. So I have started doing a bit of research on what organic farming is, what natural farming is, and how we have been doing farming for the past few decades. I realized, I came to know that there is a difference between organic and natural farming as well. Now, I think you are the best person to guide us on how and why everybody should go back to nature and, at least, if not full time, spend some time to to detox.
So first, Akhil, I wanna really applaud you for taking the effort to invest in a land and have this penchant for getting back to nature, right? I think it's, in my opinion, I've done some great decisions in life that has really helped me. And one amongst the great decision is to getting back to nature, is to getting, and it's been such a soul fulfilling exercise that I'm so thankful, happy that you have taken that path. And I would also urge, for many of us who are watching this show, you could be from a rural background, and some of you might even have ancestral land that you're blessed with, or you could have a green thumb and you want to get into farming. And here's my piece of advice: please do it. The sooner you do it, the better. And because these Chinese have this concept of yin and yang, which is doing something that is completely polar opposite. But when you do things that are completely different, it kind of brings you a semblance of balance in life. Like, for example, both Akhil and myself, I can speak for both of us. So we are in the professional world. You're into consulting. I'm also into consulting, and there's so much of screen time. There's so much of running around, so much of meetings. But when you get back to your farm, it is the opposite of that, right? You roll up your sleeves, you get down to the land, and you do physical work. And I think it's the exact opposite, and it brings you back. I want to also tell you that fundamentally I encourage people to do that is because, number one, it's great if you can grow your own food, and it brings an enormous sense of power to you. Knowing very well that if you are, just because you have your own farm and just because you are having your own food does not mean that you get food for cheap. In fact, it is the exact opposite. If you have your own land and if you're growing your own food, it actually will be far more expensive than going to a store and buying vegetables and fruits. But I would still urge you to do that because you know exactly what you've put in, right? So both of us, we believe in organic, natural farming, without using harmful pesticides, without using chemical fertilizers or herbicides, and it gives you a sense of fulfillment. So for me, my trigger in life happened when someone gave me an astonishing statistic, Akhil. And he asked me, do you know what is the average lifespan of an Indian? Do you know what's an average lifespan of an Indian? What's
Must
the
be around 70.
Exactly, right? He said it is 70.4 or something like that. So around about 70 years. I am 52 years now. Okay.
Right.
That literally means I have 18 more years according to statistics.
Right.
I might live longer, I might live lesser, it doesn't matter. But statistics don't lie. 18 years, that's all. 18 into 365 days, you're talking about roughly 9,000 days. Literally, my days are numbered. You see that? Now suddenly, as I'm telling you, I have goosebumps.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Your perspective in life completely changes, right? Now you all have just 9,000 days to live on this planet Earth. What do we want to accomplish in these 9,000 days, right? Is it going to be running around money or going to be chasing somebody else's dream? It's important for us to take a pause and chase our own dreams, right? Which is this ability for you to take care of our health, which we are blessed with, and you take care of your health by growing food that you know is absolutely clean. Second, there's this amazing Japanese concept called Shirin Yoku. Right? Shirin Yoku means forest bathing. Shirin means forest, Yoku means bathing. When you're surrounded by nature, um, there are so many happy chemicals that get secreted in our body. Your oxytocin and so many other happy chemicals, and that leads you to for better health, right? So that's also another reason why the third reason why I would encourage people to get into farming is it's probably the best way how you can do your small little activity to greening the small space. So you have a how many acres is that right now you have?
Around 12.
About 12 acres.
Yeah.
So that 12 acres of land, now you are the custodian of the 12 acres of land, Akhil, right? You may not have bigger impact around, but within the 12 acres, you have absolute power and you can do wonders in that 12 acres. And you can turn that into a green paradise in a few years' time, which I'm sure it will happen. So similarly for me, right? So in that small parcel of land, I can contribute to making this into a haven not just for us, but haven for animals, haven for reptiles, haven for birds, and haven for microorganisms. And I think that's that's an awesome, fulfilling thing. But I want to come back to the point that I started off with at the podcast, which is that this is a passion. Farming is a passion, but you got to make farming into a profession, right? No matter how much, it is very easy for farms to turn into a white elephant. It is very easy for you to keep on investing into it, but you got to figure out the way how to earn it back. I'll be the first one to tell you that farming is one of the most stupidest professions on earth. Meaning, let me explain to you. You got to be very careful in the context why I'm saying that. It is the most least paying profession. It's really the least paying profession because it forces you to produce things to spend in retail and then sell in bulk, whereas everybody manufactures in bulk and sells in retail.
Very well put.
Right?
That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah, it's and that's why and another mistake that most people make is that they sell it to a middleman and for very small profit, and it's the middleman who makes the money. Which brings me back to the first one, and I want to clarify my important statement why I said why agriculture the way it is one of the least paying professions. We are the ones who should change that fact. When I say we, these are the educated people who have some semblance of business knowledge. They are the ones who can change the nature of the game by applying business principles, by applying all the skill sets and experience you have developed in order to turn this into a paying profession. And you do that by marketing your produce directly to consumers. You do that. You do that by ensuring that there could be agritourism that can be put in. So many of these elements you can do it, and that's how you make farming profitable. My goal in life is I want to change the perception. I want to change the entire brain drain. So many of us, I come from a very rural picture postcard village, right? It's a very small, tiny village. And from there, people all migrate to towns and cities is because they want to get better pay. Nobody will give them a girl to marry if the guy continues to stay in the village. And so much taboo lies around. My wish is that I want to change that by setting a role model. Somebody like Akhil who started farming, somebody like me who runs a farm. If we can prove the fact that we can make this successful, we can make it profitable, this will encourage others to do the same as well.
Okay, that makes so much sense. And now, since you have summarized your journey into technical world, into public speaking, and into farming, and I'm pretty sure all the students will have a lot to learn from Kiruba's experiences because he has excelled in all three. Now, if you have to summarize all your experiences and give one advice to students, what would that be?
My advice to you is while you're listening to this podcast or you're listening to other episodes of the Switch Talk podcast or listening to any person's advice, I would want you to be very cognizant of what is that one point that really spoke to your heart, right? Take that one point and put that immediately into action. Because watching episodes of Switch Talk, watching TED Talks, or reading books, or listening to motivational talks will be of no consequence if you don't swing into action. And that's what I want to leave in. There are so many nuggets of wisdom that not just in this episode, but in other episodes of Switch Talk, I want you to invest your time in watching these episodes, in reading good books, listening to great people. But always, always keep in mind that you're not watching a movie. You are here with a specific purpose of improving your life. You're here with a specific purpose of getting successful in life. And you do that by capturing that important action item that you should do and then putting that into action. That's what I would leave with.
Thank you so much, Kiruba. It was a pleasure talking to you because all these three professions are what everybody should have, in fact, because these are things that, especially if you talk about technology, every profession needs that. If you talk about public speaking, every profession needs that. And if you talk about farming, every individual needs that. And when you mentioned about the health aspect, I would like to say that for mental health, especially if you take some time off, go visit some farms, and if possible, Kiruba's farm, I'm pretty sure you would come back more energized, with more focus and a better aim, with a sense of quality of life that you would want to spend. Going to nature gives you an opportunity to contemplate, and that helps you get your life on track. So once again, thank you, Kiruba, for spending time. It was lovely talking to you, and all the advice that you have given to the students would be of immense help to them.
Thank you so much, Akhil. It's been an absolute pleasure. And kudos to you for walking the talk. I remember a long time back, you said you wanted to start a podcast. And now look at you right now. And what an amazing setup. And you have a professional team helping you. So my respect to you.
Thank you so much. मैं हूं अकील खान और आप देख रहे हैं स्विच टॉक. मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड में एक नए मेहमान के साथ, एक नए पर्सपेक्टिव के साथ. तब तक खुद का ख्याल रखें और अपने सपनों को सीरियस लेना ना भूलें.